Hey guys, how are you tonight? I'm Sage from Growing Sage, back to talk to you about some growth tonight. Thanks for joining. I have a good topic. I'm going to bend your brain a little bit tonight, and the topic is how do we clean the poison from our life? So if you're ready to clean out some of the toxins, clean out some of the poison, then you're in the right spot, because that's what we're chatting about tonight. So let's just start with how this topic popped up. So I've definitely been in this mood where I'm ready for a level up. I'm ready for some spring cleaning. I'm ready for a fresh start. And some of you might be feeling the same way. So I've just been super excited lately as I'm running across posts that resonate with that. And you've probably noticed that I've been reposting some of those on the page. And I happened to stumble across one that has basically stopped me in my tracks. And so I posted it a couple days ago. And that's kind of the whole theme of the topic today. And I hope that you get as much out of it as I have so far. So again, I'm Sage, growth coach, and we're here talking about how to clear the poison from your life. So I'm going to read to you the post, and then when I'm done with the video, I'll put the actual post in the comments in case you missed it a couple days ago so you can see it for yourself. But here's how the post goes. It says, a shaman was asked, what is poison? And he said, anything beyond what we need is poison. It can be power, laziness, food, ego, ambition, vanity, fear, anger, or whatever. Anything beyond what we need is poison. Okay, so just sit with that for a minute and see what that's drawing up in you. Because like I said earlier, that one kind of stopped me in my tracks, and I had to sit there for a while and think about it. And I actually, when I got a free moment, I just went and got it back on my screen, and I journaled about it for a little bit, because it was definitely bringing up some feelings for me, like exciting, because it was almost finally the spark that I needed to turn the page to a new chapter. So let's break down that part of it, part of the post that says what we need. So obviously what we need is extremely subjective. I could think that I need 3 Teslas to drive around, and another person could think that they just need a bike. And so our perceptions and our beliefs about what we actually need can be quite varied. But what I would encourage you to do is I would say it might be a good time to sit down and just write across a piece of paper, what do I need? And see what your spirit tells you, see what your heart tells you, and start jotting the things down on the piece of paper. And I am pretty confident that as long as you're in a rested, centered space, your spirit will call you on your lies, and you'll get a nice page of things that you want. And then you could probably even write another one that says, what do I need, or what do I not really need? And you can probably make another list. So this was similar to what I did the other day. Now, journaling just really helps us kind of jot down freely those things and then look at it and be able to reflect without having to involve another person in our self-reflection. Not that it's not a good idea to get a good support group around you when you're narrowing your wants and your needs. But I think it's good to kind of start and reflect on that yourself. So I would start there. Let's also break down the word lack. So let's be clear. I am definitely one of those people who believes that we should live life to the fullest and to really enjoy it. And if that means you're going to go out to dinner with one of your girlfriends, twice in 1 week, and that makes you happy, do it. If you that means that you're going to buy your second car because you really want that convertible Jeep to drive around in the warm months and it makes you happy, do it. If you're purchasing your 17th pair of workout leggings because that makes you happy, do it. If you're tipping into that second or third glass of champagne because you're celebrating something really important to you, do it. I'm all about living a life that is worth being in and living and living fully and passionately. I think that is so valid and so important. So I definitely encourage that. And the cool thing about this world and this life is that we all want a different experience. And so there's plenty out there for everybody to live their best life. Now, what the important part to that though is that you got to make sure that these choices you're making to live life fully aren't causing a long-lasting secondary effect on some other category of your life. And let me just give you an example of that. So if you are on your second glass of champagne or your third glass of champagne and now you can't, get up and get out of bed in the morning for, your big workout you had planned, then now that's trickling onto something else and maybe that's your poison. Or if your obsession with buying leggings is making it so you don't have a really solid savings account to fall back on when things get crazy, then maybe your spending is your poison. And that's when it starts to take a turn. So that's kind of what you want to ask yourself as you're journaling and you're making the list is this item trickling over onto something else negatively? So the next topic I want to talk about with, clearing your poisons out of your life is we don't need to shame ourselves, okay? The purpose of this video is certainly not to sit here and feel bad about yourself for that third glass of champagne. Life's too short and life's too hard often, and there is no reason to sit in that shame, and there's no purpose for that, okay? We have to understand that life is constantly throwing us curveballs, and what it is doing is it's providing us these awesome opportunities for growth, but we're navigating this plane in this body on this planet, and we're getting thrown all these things, that don't correspond sometimes with our time and space, and we just have to have a lot of ease and grace with that, because it's okay to say, uncle, like, I've had enough for this week. Let's take it down a notch. And just like crawl in your bed and go to sleep. That's fine too, because life is tough. So I'm not looking to, guilt trip you or shame you by posting this video. I'm just telling you that it's okay to have developed coping mechanisms for times that have been tough in our lives. Now, where the key is, though, with coping mechanisms, and this is what was kind of my aha moment, is that I could list off about 6 really good coping mechanisms that I developed to navigate some stress this spring. And I am now, knock on wood, I'm hopefully done with that portion of stress, and I have been for a couple weeks, but I was still holding on to a bunch of those coping mechanisms. And so I was wondering why, okay, the stress is gone. The stressor, I should say, is gone. But I'm still just like fatigued and I'm just so exhausted. And why is that? Well, I still believe there's kind of a grieving process to closing out stressful periods in our life, and it's okay to like not be like, okay, so today it's done, now I'm going to be chipper and happy and wonderful and everything's great. Like, you might need a few days just to like just be a pile on your couch, and that's perfectly fine. It wasn't about that. It was just that I felt like I was hanging on to habits that it was time to let go of. So that's why this post really, opened my eyes. So let me read it to you one more time. I'm baffled that you still don't feel good and you don't have energy because you're letting that ripple effect from those coping mechanisms still carry over, and now they're leaching out some of the good in your life. And that's what this video is all about, is discovering that. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is just some final tips about dealing with recognizing your poison. And that is, if you're going to sit down and do this, you don't want to do it in a time when you're short on time. You want to be centered and focused and healthy and rested, because then your heart and you're going to be able to hear your heart and hear your spirit, and you're gonna close down the craziness that is always going on in our minds, and you're gonna get to the real source for your answers. So that's my first piece of advice. The second is to keep in mind that poisons come from lots of areas. So I made a little list. I'm gonna read some of them to you. Okay, so poisons could be food or drinks. They could be purchases, behaviors, emotions or energy, like power, judgment, discrimination or hate, and ego-based desires. They could be perceptions, so like vanity or self-sabotage. And yes, poisons can be people. Are you hanging with people who are keeping you stuck in poison? So you might want to ask yourself that as well. Because boy, it's good to have some good friends around that will be there when you need a buddy to hang out in your misery. But then sometimes those people like to hang out in misery a little too long and you're ready to move on. So you might want to think about that a little bit. You also want to be really honest with yourself. Are you ready for growth? If you're not, that's okay. Then maybe this little video will stick back here somewhere, and when you are ready, go back and watch it again. That's how we work. You've got choice. And then the last thing I just want to say is make sure that you are just giving yourself ease and grace. Again, this isn't about shame, okay? Like I said, life is tough, all right? And we have got to love ourselves. We got to love each other. We got to be there for each other, okay? And sometimes it's perfectly fine to allow some poisons in. But at some point, you might want to draw the line and get them packing so that you can feel better about your day-to-day life and not be hung in the past. Okay? So I hope that gave you a little seed, plant a little seed, bent your brain a little bit, and I wish you the very, very best on your poison detox, because I'm day 2 in mine, and I'm working on several things to get back to who I feel like I am in here, which is the important part. So feel free to join me, and if you've got ideas about how you want to go about your poison detox, please put them in the comments. I'll cheer you on. I would love to do that. And then I just want to say, if you have somebody that you can think of that you can share this with, that it might help, please do that, because I just really want everyone to have the opportunity to grow that is ready with me, because I'm hanging on for the ride and I'm sharing as much with you guys as I can at Growing Sage. And then just one more nugget. A lot of you are watching this on my Growing Sage page on Facebook, but a lot of you probably don't know that I actually have a Growing Sage group as well. So I would love for you guys to join the Growing Sage group, because I'd love to get some of these conversations going over on the group page. So if you've been following me for a while and you haven't joined the group, today's the day. Thanks, guys. You mean the world to me. And I can feel your energy and your strength as we're all growing together. And I'm sending you lots of positive energy and strength. I love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week.